Good day, Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to discuss with you our first module, which is on the introduction of research. So, what are the objectives of this module? By the end of the presentation, you should be able to define and explain concepts of scientific research, deduction and induction reasoning, theory, hypothesis, and empiricism. Next is to clarify the sources of truth and knowledge. Third is to identify and explain the features and application of different categories and subcategories of research methods. Fourth is to determine the characteristics of good topic. Number five is to identify and familiarize the steps in conducting a research. Of course, the fourth is for you to do all the application and exercises that I prepared for you to do. So let's begin with the basic concepts and terms in research. Definitely, the first question that you will ask yourself when you conduct a research is the definition of research. What is research? So, research is a scientific way of answering questions and testing hypotheses. Another definition is research is the systematic and objective analysis and recording of controlled observations that may lead to the development of generalizations, principles, or theories, resulting in prediction and possible control of events. So, scientific way of answering questions and testing hypotheses. So, research is something that will take a while for you to finish. Okay? Because unlike those simple questions that you have that can be answered immediately, research does not answer only based on common sense. You will really have to do it in a scientific way. So when you say scientific way, it should be based on truth, based on facts, and that you have to do it following the steps, or it should be done systematically. Like you start with looking for problem, or if the problem is already there, then think of questions that you would like to ask about the problem that you would like to be answered. Then you will also have to think about who your respondent shall be. Then you gather data. What tool are you going to use in gathering data? Then you collect the data. After collecting the data, you're going to treat and analyze the data, then come up with conclusions and recommendations. So everything is done in a step by step and orderly manner. That's your way of answering questions in research. And of course, you also test hypotheses. So whether you accept the hypothesis or you deny the hypothesis that you have come up with before coming up with the research. So hypothesis is basically, for those who do not know, it's just like an intelligent guess. But of course, your intelligent guess should be based on the research that you have done. Okay? So whether you say there is a significant relationship or there is a significant difference between or among variables. Another definition, it is a systematic and objective analysis and recording of controlled observations that may lead to the development of generalizations, principles, or theories resulting in prediction and possible control of events. So, let's let's take a look at the keywords of that definition. So we will begin with, I already discussed with you what systematic is, so I'll continue with empirical. So when you say empirical, it's something that is verifiable by observation or by experience rather than pure logic or theory. Okay? There are a lot of theories, but then again, we can prove or disprove that theory by coming up with a research. Okay? That is why many theories have been proven to be wrong, or some theories were added. So naananing theory, pero since there were other studies conducted by other authorities, they came up with additional information. Okay, so again, they are all verifiable by observations. Then when you say critical investigation, it is an investigation that is done critically, in the sense that all are considered of relevance. Then we have the hypothetical proposition. So when you say hypothetical proposition, it expresses the alternatives of all. Okay? I mean, alternatives, and all of which cannot be true or false together. But only one can be true and the other is absolutely false. Then we have the presumed relationships or presumed relations. So when you say presumed relation, it actually deals with what you call the hypothesis. So a hypothesis, as I said a while ago, states a presumed relationship between two variables, after which a decision is made whether to accept or deny the hypothesis. So, for example, your hypothesis is, you'll say there is a significant relationship between the child's pronunciation skill and his first language. So, pronunciation and first language. Or there is no relationship between the child's first language and his pronunciation skill. So, either of the two will be the result. I mean, will be accepted or denied eventually as you come up with your, as you finish your research. Next is the observed phenomena. Okay, so when you say phenomena, these are observed facts or events. Okay, so of an aspect known, it is an aspect that is known through the senses rather than by thought or by intuition. Okay, so let's now move. Of course, research is controlled. Okay, you cannot you cannot study everything. You just choose certain variables, and you also can choose some samples as to who you will be conducting the research to or for. So let's now proceed with the approaches to knowledge. Research concerns obtaining knowledge which come from different types of sources. So the first would be knowledge as a belief. For knowledge as a belief, here, your conclusions, because when you come up with research, at the end, you always based on the based on the data that you gathered, based on your theoretical framework, you will come up with conclusions, no, right after. So conclusions, if you look at it from this approach, conclusions are not based on empirical investigation. If you using if you are go you if you are using this as your source, no, so it's not on empirical investigation but on common sense. They should be considered as basis for forming hypotheses rather than established knowledge about second language acquisition and learning, or about any research that you would like to conduct. Number two, knowledge as authority. Certain conclusions become acceptable since they come from a source whose views on the phenomenon is his or her field of research, okay, or as regarded or are regarded as educated judgment, thereby gaining popularity. Okay, some methods that were accepted and became popular, um, of course, in different in English, were the Suggestopedia and the like. So the third is the priori knowledge. It resembles beliefs, but this type is usually based on systematic or previously done investigation. But the investigation was done systematically, as in the theory of uh, as in the theory of uh, what do you call this? Cognitive theory of Piaget, the theory of Erickson's psychosocial development, and the like. Type 4 would be a priori, I mean, type 4 would be the empirical knowledge. So this is another source. Knowledge here is a result of empirical study. What did I say again about empirical? Verifiable by observation or experience rather than logic or theory. So the researcher here interacts with the real world and observes the phenomenon before he or she draws conclusions. Okay. So we mentioned a while ago that research can be approached as deductive, and it can also be approached as inductive. Okay? So deductive reasoning here, when you approach your research from this perspective, deductive reasoning, your thinking proceeds from general assumption to specific application. So this is from general to specific. While inductive reasoning, your conclusions about the events, which is general, are based on the information generated through many individual and direct observation. So that is now, that's when you say generated through individual and direct observation, that's specific. Okay? So you go to specific to general when you do or when you look at it from inductive perspective. So when you say inductive reasoning, researchers observe an individual or group of individuals from a larger population. Based on these observations, generalizations are made back to a larger population. So there are two kinds of induction. We have the perfect and the imperfect. So when you say perfect induction, conclusions based on observations made from all members of a group of population. While imperfect, your conclusions are just based on observations made from random sample of members of the population. So most of the time, when we when we make use of the inductive reasoning, we go for the imperfect, no? Imperfect kay dili man nato tanan gyud makuha ang mga members. So just a sample of the members. Okay? Let's take a look at a closer look. Let's take a closer look at the difference between the two, deductive versus inductive reasoning. So when you say deductive, for example, every mammal has lungs. All rabbits are mammals. Therefore, every rabbit has lungs. So you started from general, then to specific. The general is that you talk about mammals having lungs. And then you went to specific, which is the now you talk about rabbit having lungs. And then the inductive here that you have is every rabbit has been observed has lungs. So that's specific. Therefore, every rabbit has lungs. Okay, sometimes we acquire knowledge through the use of logic. So here's an example. All birds have feathers. This animal has feathers. Therefore, this animal is a bird. Many times, as in the case above, logic leads us to the truth. However, sometimes using logic alone leads us to incorrect conclusions. Like, for example, consider the example that I have here. All birds can fly, or almost all birds can fly. This animal can fly. Therefore, this animal is a bird. Okay, so again, another comparison between deduction and induction perspective. So when you do deduction, you start with research, then you come up with hypothesis, then you do your observation, then your confirmation. While when you do induction, you start with observation, come up with a pattern, then you have tentative hypothesis, then you come up with theory in the end. So ang deduction na ay theory, then you hypothesize, then till you come up with your confirmation. So usually, diri gyud ta. Many of you might go for this. Okay? There is already you already have observed the phenomenon and there are already theories about it, and then you want to prove and disprove the given theory. Okay, logical steps of scientific method. So systematic, cyclic series of logical steps. So this is what we will be following also when we will be conducting research. Una-una, you will have to identify the problem. For those who do not have a problem, I mean, for those who are not observant, for those who are not so keen about their environment and the problem that they faced in their environment, it will they will find it really difficult in identifying problem. But you know, class, that's the first thing that we will have to do when we conduct research. We won't be able to conduct a research if we won't be able to determine a problem. So una gyud na atay problema na nakita na we want to investigate. Okay, so let's say for example, you notice that this particular set of people, let's say the Chinese people, are really having difficulty in speaking the English language. So you're having difficulty in understanding them when they speak the English language. Now, you already have a topic. Uy, what if kana akong gamiton as my problem? So you would like to determine what are the difficulties of the Chinese people, especially in speaking the in uttering or in pronouncing or speaking the English language. So, dito na anak kay problema, then you will just come up with set of other problems like you want to determine what specifically are the problems that they encounter as to why they cannot speak the language. So, should it be they cannot understand the meaning or their pronunciation skill? There are a lot of answers to that eventually as you come up with your research problems and your questions to about the problem. Number two is, of course, you formulate your hypothesis. So when you formulate the hypothesis, let's say, for example, given that problem, you will say, there is a significant relationship between the the Chinese people's first language and their difficulty in speaking English. Okay, so or there is no significant relationship between their first language and their difficulty in speaking English. The third, this is the most difficult part, but this is also one of the most important part. You cannot finish your research unless you come up with your research plan. Okay, so when you design your when you develop your research plan, there are so many things that you have to take into account. You have to design your tool. You have to think about your sample size. No? How many people are you going to use for your respondents? And then what method are you going to use in choosing them? What methodology are you going to adopt? Are you going to use descriptive? Are you going to use quantitative, qualitative? Then, what statistical method are you going to use to treat your data? Where are you going to? So, kana mga plan. Actually, for those of you who are taking research one, this is where you devise your research plan. This is where you, when you finish your plan, when you have already finished until the part where you come up with the definition of terms. That's the last part. That's the last part. Pero you have to write your rationale. You have to read for you to come up with your theoretical background. All of those steps of chapter 1, 2, 3, you will have to finish that. Okay? But for those who are doing full-blown research, then they will have to finish everything. They will have to gather data, they will have to treat the data, and so on until the last part. But for those taking research one, you will only finish until the definition of terms. That's the last part of your research. And then, just like those who are doing their full-blown, you will also have a defense. You call it the proposal. If your proposal will not be accepted, then you fail the subject. You will retake the subject. But if your proposal will is acceptable, then in research 2, you will make use of that proposal. And in the research 2, what you'll do is to conduct your research. Do all the succeeding chapters until you finish. Okay? Then I mentioned already collecting and analyzing. Then you interpret your results and come up with conclusions and recommendations. So new questions arise. Once you identify your questions, then you now are able to form your hypothesis. Then you plan your research, then collect your data, then interpret your data until you reach the last part of your research. So let's discuss the difference kay one of the things two of the terms that you will be hearing over and over again in this class would be the words hypothesis and theory. Okay, but since many of you still don't know uh, the difference between these two. So when you say theory, the difference between the two is that in scientific reasoning, a hypothesis is an assumption made before any research, while before any research has been completed. That is just for the sake of testing. While a theory is a principle set to explain phenomena already supported by data. So we have here more definitions. Belief or prediction of the final outcome of the research. It is a concrete, specific statement about the relationships between phenomena, and this is based on deductive reasoning. While a theory is a belief or assumption about how things relate to each other. It also establishes a cause and effect relationship between variables with the purpose of explaining and predicting phenomena. Okay, and it is based on inductive reasoning. Okay, so let's take a look. In an ideal world, when you conduct research, there's this first naatay hypothesis, and then from this, you develop a theory. And sometimes, especially mga authority na to, the like of Piaget, Freud, Eric Erickson, and so many other psychologists, they were able to come up with laws in the field of psychology based on their theories. Kay wala pa man mga tao naka-disprove na sayop ang ilahang mga gibuhat. There were some who attempted, but what they came up with was almost the same as what they did, as what Freud, Piaget, and all the other psychiatrists did, psychologists did. And all they did was just to add more to what has already been known. Okay, so empiricism, acquiring information and facts through observation, umana na. Another observation is when you do pragmatic observation. This is developing theory through experience and observation. Okay, that ends module 1.